You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show.
Feed me more.
Oh, so you got a Ryback feed going. I thought you were channeling the power from the Ultimate War. Yeah. That's what I thought was going on. But good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV, brought to you by Bing, where Bing is for doing, and we're doing another Raw After Show recap for the week of October 15th. I'm joined, as usual, by my co-hosts. I got the energetic and enigmatic superfan over here, channeling the power of Ryback, the hunger. It's trying to satiate that hunger. Josh Padgett over here. How you doing, Josh?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, now we go into a little macho man. I like that each week. I was enjoying that last week. Sitting by your side, Josh, we got a man whose brain works in unbelievable ways. He's almost like a statistician of wrestling, the knowledge base. He's like wrestling's own Dewey Decimal System.
Or some could call it a wasted youth.
Ryan Clum. Ryan, I mean, do you think it's a wasted youth? I don't think so.
I don't.
I mean, it's allowing you to be part of this.
Exactly.
This spectacular.
I've been waiting 25 years to actually let someone listen to me talk about wrestling. So.
And now given the chance by Maria Menounos.
Yeah.
I heard you and Maria are tight. Like, you guys are like this.
I actually helped train Maria for WrestleMania and Tribute for the Troops last year.
Oh, so. I thought you were over here, but you know. No, so we got it going. October 15th, we got a big week of Raw. We're coming back from last week where Vince was used to pop the ratings, try to get things back on track.
And the best show they've had in a while last week.
Yeah, I mean, we went off the air last year with our own technical difficulties, missing the final minutes of the show. It seems like we missed a little controversy going on.
Yeah, I went home right after this, and I went on my DVR, and I was like, let me see what I missed tonight. And it's like the last 5 minutes, and I go, oh my God, let me rewind that for a second. CM Punk took out a fan, right?
I mean, smacked the fan right in the head.
Backhand backslap. Yeah, I mean, he put that fan in his place, but then when you
hit the wrong guy.
Yeah, you sit and you start examining the footage and go frame by frame and see what happened. And innocent guy got hit while the other guy who was instigating, was laughing away on the side.
But to me, that's not on Punk. That is on WWE and building security. You don't put, especially a heel in the audience, without security all over him. And I don't know if someone was out of position, if someone screwed up, but somebody I would think should be getting fired for that.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's just that it's a heel in the audience. In general, you're going to have a top-level star in the audience. You're going to have to protect your investment. And the fact that, maybe WWE dropped the ball by not having their own private security there to take care of the situation, if that was the plan of attack and the script and the storyline. But then you got to just wonder why the arena event staff wasn't there just to go up the stairs and just make sure, a little control was maintained.
Yeah, definitely. And I do agree, you would want that for anybody, but especially when you have someone that their job is to make the audience mad and elicit that emotional response. Because Punk said, a couple guys said, let's throw him down the stairs, and he heard people saying that. And people get a little bit crazy, not like the old days where they would bring guns and shoot Bobby Heenan, or Jesse Ventura talks about guys trying to chase him with knives.
Yeah, Freddie Blassie getting stabbed on a couple of occasions back in the old days.
I forget who they are. A guy who trained with Rick Drazen, old school, talks about a couple old Mexican wrestlers that used to carry guns in their gym bags because guys would come at them, because as the heel, you were the most despicable guy in town.
Josh, when I look at you across the table, I see this little evil gleam in your eye. I could see you being a fan who would want to go hit a wrestler.
Oh man, hey, if it was me and Punk, like, I mean, he didn't hit him too hard. I mean, I'd go off for it. I mean, I would probably go after one of the guys who hit him. I mean, I don't like that. That's despicable behavior right there.
I mean, he did what he thought he had to do to maintain his preservation of self, so to speak. I mean, an act of self-defense is he didn't know what kind of danger he was put in. It was funny. TMZ was actually talking about the situation and brought up the fact that the kid should have just been happy that he was included as part of the show.
Take a backhand.
Yeah, because essentially, I guess there was talks that he was going to sue, and then I'm
and now
assuming
he's not supposedly.
So a little something.
It's funny though that people automatically assume. I was reading replies online after when I went home and looked at the stuff too, and everyone's, I guess this guy's a millionaire now. It's like, I mean, getting hit without real major injuries. I don't think that's.
You really don't have much.
I mean, I watched my People's Court, and I learned you really don't get pain and suffering like it's made out in the movies and television shows.
Yeah. This made me think of my favorite episode of a fan hitting a wrestler, which was it WrestleMania 13? Do you know this one?
I'm not.
A young Colt Cabana attacked Hawk. Road Warrior Hawk. You can actually find that footage online.
I was at WrestleMania 13 in Chicago, so it would make sense that
when the fan jumps and attacks, it was Colt Cabana jumps out and gives like 3 or 4 forearms to Road Warrior Hawk. He talks about it on his podcast.
I was unaware of the situation. Speaking of podcasts, you can check out and subscribe to our podcast, AfterBuzz TV on iTunes. You can pick up, subscribe, rate, comment, stay in tune with the latest information coming out live after Raw each and every single week.
Yeah. And please comment. There are not enough current comments up on iTunes as far as we're concerned. So
once again, if you're inspired to call based on what we're talking about, 424-256-1729 is the phone number if you'd like to buzz in. We talked last week. We got that. I think it's on to this week, the week of October 15th. Monday Night Raw starts out with a little of the, well, it's the big show. I don't know what my expression, when I first heard the music, I was like, this is what we're starting off with today. I wasn't so excited.
And here's my, question actually is not pertaining to the show at all. Do you think it's about time they changed Big Show's music? Like, I've never been a big fan of the Big Show music, and I've been wanting to change it for years. I've just never enjoyed it as much.
I mean, he's like legend status now. You can't really, you can't take the glass break from Stone Cold.
True, but to me, it's not at that level.
It's not iconic.
It's not iconic to me.
I was watching Saturday Morning Slam this weekend, and they did a piece on the musical numbers and the musical director Jim Johnson, who creates all these tracks, and he talks about Big Show's being one of his favorites he's ever done.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, maybe it's just me,
It's just there's something funny about it. I get what you're saying. That it really doesn't fit the vibe.
Yeah, like the Rocks, and Stone Cold's, like those are iconic to me. Even Hogan's All-American. But then
there's a hokiness to the Big Show.
There's a hokiness to it.
It's very much like William Regal's Real Man's Man.
He's a man.
And you know what? when Big Show like right now is this big dominating heel, to me the music doesn't fit. I like it when he's a face and he's a good guy. I understand it, but sometimes I'd like to see a more domineering type music, almost like Earthquakes music or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I don't mind. My whole thing is like, why give Big Show? He's not bad on the mic, but it's like he's best when he's this monster. Some guy when on SmackDown he punched the hell out of that punching bag, and it was like Ivan Drago. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it's like let's talk like more Ryback type stuff, but with like this giant.
You did notice in the promo this week there is definitely a more focused, aggressive Big Show. And I think this is a theme that I saw over the course of the whole evening, that there's an aggression out of a lot of the big heels right now. And I think he was able to get away from a little of the hokiness, get into an aggressive talk that he is a monster. He's sick of being made to be made to look like a joke.
He's going to hit Sheamus and Auto Machine this time and all that. Yeah.
And then he does carry back into some one-liner comedy bits. So I agree. It's finding that balance of Big Show, because you need a mean Big Show. Otherwise, he is just too soft.
Yeah, and I like the way he was using the 45-second thing as well. Like using it almost as I'm gonna take the title. I'm gonna erase that 45 seconds. Essentially.
Yeah, and he demanded that he was going to do that tonight.
And demanded Daniel Bryan.
With a match against Daniel Bryan. It took a little while before Daniel Bryan responded to the challenge.
Right.
We went backstage
which I did not like.
To a bunch of the guys watching on the monitor.
It was like this long dolly shot. you know, where they're pulling back and revealing it. It felt really weird, like it was a set. And
I was trying to figure out if it actually was live or if it was pre-recorded with the cut-in. I wasn't too sure about that.
Yeah, and with who was all standing around? Like Zack Ryder.
It was the face clown.
Santino Marella.
Yeah.
Kane was there.
All the goofballs were hanging out together. Little Jimmy and
that's right, little Jimmy. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
hey,
he's yelling
Jimmy,
no.
check it out, you know.
And that's right. Then Daniel Bryan starts yelling no at everybody and yelling no at little Jimmy and all that. That to me set the pace for the rest of the show. Like that to me, it was
so
just like
important to get it good.
What is this? Like I didn't like that, and I kind of felt the show kind of stayed flat for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that you felt like it was going to foreshadow the actual flow of the entire night, and it did, unfortunately. I mean, we were up with a great show last week, down from what Josh deemed to be a terrible episode 2 weeks ago.
Unairable is what he said.
You know, and we bounced back with something strong. It popped the ratings. I don't think it brought the numbers up to where WWE's looking to go.
We really enjoyed it.
We enjoyed the show. We thought it was well done, well put together.
What can you expect in 1 week, you know?
Correct.
And it was an improvement, and that's huge, you know. And you get this momentum, you need to build on it. Open the show with Cena.
You know, what was interesting is that 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, what you called unairable, that was one of the first times in quite some time that WWE did not even rank in the top 25 cable ratings for the week.
Wow.
Didn't even score for 1 hour. Back on the charts again this last week, not in high positions, but they're going to have something, a big challenge coming out for the ratings this week with the debate coming up, Walking Dead's premiere, American Horror Story. I mean, Vince wants to see some progress, wants to see results when it comes to the ratings. I think they're going to have to do a little bit better job on the writing again, because if this is evident of what's going on, I don't see an upward swing coming in the future.
And speaking of the writing, I guess one thing we should mention about this is Brian Gewirtz was let go, or not let go, but he was relieved of his duties as head writer at the beginning last week. So maybe this is part of that. You know, new writing team, new head writers, trying out their stuff this week. This would really be probably the first week, because he was relieved right before the show, so I'm sure last week's show he had a lot to do with, I would think. You know, so this would be the first show of the new writer.
Yeah.
And then you have the CM Punk fan incident. I'm sure like they were just scrambling all week. You know, you got main event now on Ion. You got a lot of new stuff going on. It's going to be a little hectic for a while.
But when you're the juggernaut, you got to know how to juggle, all those different tasks and juggle those responsibilities so that you can put forward the best product possible and actually entertain the people and draw that fan base back. I mean, it's only been 10 years or so since we used to have 5 to 10 million people watching wrestling every single week, and now we're in the 3 to 4 million on a regular basis. So, I mean, there's so many potential wrestling fans out there that something has got to be done to bring back those numbers.
Yeah, let's not forget they've been struggling since they went to 3 hours, trying to figure out a way how these shows flow, how to put them together. So that could be part of it. I mean, new writing team having to put a 3-hour show together, or not a new writing team, same writers, but a new captain, I would say.
More work, probably not more money. Just more responsibility onto your work plate.
And you got to put a 3-hour show together. I mean, that's not easy.
No, week after week, it is really a very difficult task that no one really understands. I mean, it's easy to armchair quarterback, armchair book, and be from home. They should do this. They should do this. But to actually put it together on a weekly basis, consistently, something exciting, something entertaining, something with anticipatory elements. I mean, it's not an easy task to create, and there is no magic formula.
No, I just listened to Dutch Mantel being interviewed on Colt Cabana's podcast, and he was talking about it and how he feels 90 minutes is the perfect length for a wrestling show. You go over that, you start to get in trouble. But because of money, because of advertising, because of all that, they need to do 3 hours. It's a lot of money to be able to do that. It's a whole another hour of advertising when they added that 3rd hour. So
based on WWE's State of the Union last week with Vince, he talked about the people want action. So I mean, I think it would be easier if they filled this 3rd hour with more action-packed matches.
Now they went right into a fight. They went right into a fight. The Big Show had his promo, and boom, Daniel Bryan comes out. It's like, oh my God, it's a pay-per-view match. We got Daniel Bryan versus Big Show. That's our first match of the night, and it was pretty much within the first 5 minutes of the show. So I mean, I'm glad that they're doing that now. But this match,
wasn't like a barn burner though.
But it wasn't bad. I mean, there was aggression by Big Show.
It was a good opener, I guess.
There was counters by Daniel Bryan, and then finally, Bryan got caught.
Oh, I love his little Hulk up he's doing now. When the guy's on the knees, when he gets the kicks, I'm like, get in there, man, get in, get you some, Hogan.
Yeah, and he was laying in a lot of kicks on Big Show.
Right.
It looked like he was getting the offense, was doing okay, but unfortunately got caught by the behemoth, and that was it.
Puts Big Show over a guy who's like through the sky right now.
Which you have to do because Big Show's getting a title shot.
Yeah.
So you got to make him look good.
And he's setting him up. He's gonna give him the WMD and the other half of the tag team champions.
Kane comes down, or if you ask Kane, he's the tag team champion.
He is, yes. And he lets him sit there for a second, but then he slides in, watches Bryan squirm for a little bit. And then stands up to Big Show and is like, "No, man, that's my boy right there. You gotta leave him alone."
Yeah, at the same time, I think there's going to be a little bit of dissension in the ranks of Team Friendship or Team Hell No.
Team Hell No.
And I think we may be seeing a break between them.
Yeah, do you think are you ready for them to split?
I'm ready for them to split, and I'd like to see actually a top quality match, pay-per-view match between Daniel Bryan and Kane, and I think they'll tear the roof down off the arena. I mean, I think they'll go out there and they'll put on just a hybrid mix of a brawl with the technical classic, and it really will entertain the fans and get people revved up. I guess you got
one of the best wrestlers and one of the most underrated in Kane. I think he's one of the most underrated guys on the roster. He's amazing.
Absolutely. The talent out of this big man, and year after year, he's been able to pull this off.
Still doing it. How old is he now?
I mean, he's in his 40s, I would say he's in his 40s. Yeah. I'm not positive on that. But constantly, every couple of years, when you think he's plateaued or hit his new peak, he's still able to elevate, rise above, rise to the occasion,
and evolve.
Absolutely, there is evolvement, evolving of his character. He's able to make some changes, stay fresh, and actually entertain people. Yeah. I mean, there was the hokiness in that backstage segment, but Kane was still pretty funny in it, laughing.
He's very good at that. Yeah.
I mean, he's going a little bit more over the top.
But it's fun to see Kane go over the top because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's such a break from typical character that it is. That there's an entertainment factor that you can take a similar wrestler who's supposed to be mean or a giant or a monster, put him in that situation. We talk about it. Sheamus, we say too much joking around, not enough aggression. Right. Same thing with Big Show. But there is something about seeing Kane pull off this over the top goofy character that is working.
Yeah, and for me it started like that character when they were with Dr. Shelby and he cut that whole thing about his history with Katie Vick and everything. To me, I was popping for that. I was laughing during that scene. It was so funny. Yeah, he's really funny. It's funny how comedic he is.
Because Sheamus and Big Show have never buried anyone alive or burnt someone
or electrocuted their testicles
or locked their father in a freezer
or been married and divorced. The other amazing thing out of that segment is the response that people have for Daniel Bryan. I mean, they love this guy.
It's awesome.
I mean, the yeses, the nos. It doesn't matter what they're yelling at him. They love the guy.
It's when his music hits, you see the audience start moving.
Rumble.
It's like a rumble, like a sea start to move, and everyone starts pointing and starts chanting, "No, no, yes, yes." And
you see yes and no signs constantly through the crowd.
It's incredible.
You see the no T-shirts constantly through the crowd. I mean, he really could be. I think he could surpass. I think he could surpass CM Punk levels in terms of fandom right now. That he may not be in that best in the world spot, but I think the fans look at him as really one of the top guys.
Yeah. And when do you think he could possibly move into one of those top spots to be top?
You're not gonna be able to hold it back. You're not gonna be able to hold it back. Like after these tag team championships are done, like it's done. He's gone.
The fans have decided, and so the fans anoint guys,
and that is what happens. It is fans, having a lot of control over the landscape.
And they fight it sometimes. They will fight, who the fans like. I think they're doing it with Ryder a little bit right now. They're fighting that. I don't think they want to put Ryder to the point the fans want him, but the fans will bring Daniel Bryan to the top. I'm pretty sure he's going to be possible. Who knows if he could ever be the face of the company, but I don't know that he won't be.
It would be interesting to see a long-term build to a WrestleMania match. I think we talked about it a little bit last week or the week before, but seeing CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan headlining a WrestleMania,
Yes.
I think is good for big numbers.
I agree.
That could be up there with the Dragon and
Macho Man.
Steamboat and Macho Man.
Do an Iron Man match or something long with them that
Bret
you don't
Hart,
get to
Shawn
see
Michaels,
very often anymore. Yeah, because those are two guys that can have a match that, look at their Ring of Honor. I mean, if you guys have never seen Ring of Honor, go look at like some of old CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, then Bryan Danielson's their Ring of Honor stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's different, but
different style of wrestling.
Very different style,
stuff,
but some great matches.
Speaking of Punk,
Speaking of,
Mr. CM Punk comes out.
He's
Shoots
got
his little promo.
He's got an easel with something on it, covered in a little black curtain.
I'm going to reveal who I'm going to fight at Hell in a Cell.
That's what he said.
But I want a little respect from the fans here. Y'all aren't giving me a little respect, And then he gets upset because the boos are coming, and he says, you know what? I'm not going to say anything tonight. And someone has something to say about that, and Vince McMahon's music hits. His face comes. He comes out and tells CM Punk he knew that's how it was going to be.
Yeah.
He knew,
and he
wasn't
took your advice. Vince took your style advice.
Absolutely,
he was watching. Obviously,
a much bolder jacket choice for this show. I think he realized that if he wants to be in that mega boss, villainy. Even he's not a villain. He's a face.
Yeah,
but if he wants to be in that mega boss position, he's got to dress a little bolder, and I think Vince came out looking like a Dick Tracy villain today.
I just realized he got a Styles Monroe makeover, didn't he?
He did get a Styles Monroe makeover. I mean, it does happen. You can learn more about these Styles Monroe makeovers at stylesmonroe.com. That's Styles with a Z. But at the same time, Vince came out a stronger presence. Happy about the beating he took last week.
Yep.
You see the black eye or the abrasion, the cut from last week, but Vince had that twinkle in his eye. I mean, he was excited, and he's happy to be back in the picture, I think, and he's happy to be back on the program.
Oh, he loves it. He's got an ego. He wants to get filled every now and then and come out there, just like what Punk told him tonight. You're an egomaniac, man, and he loves it. Yeah. Every bit of it. And he tells him, listen, you had your chance. You blew it. I'm going to be able to choose who your opponent is at Hell in a Cell.
So it comes down to the decision. Is it going to be Ryback or is it going to be John Cena? Now, based on predictions, what do you think the situation is?
I got to say, I'm not a fan of this. Like, first, Punk was allowed to choose who he wanted. Then it had to be either Cena or Ryback. Now it's taken away from him, and Vince is going to, I don't know.
But Vince is the end-all, be-all.
It is.
So, I mean, I can see him having a little more influence and pull to tweak the rules.
And that's what it almost feels like. Oh, well, we didn't like where we were going, so let's change this. That's kind of the way it feels to me from a writing standpoint, almost that they kind of keep changing gears. And I'm not a big fan when they keep changing gears.
So we won't find out Vince's decision until the end of the show.
Right.
But before we even get to that, just thinking, what do you think? Is that decision going to rule the WWE universe, or is it going to be a universal disappointment when we find out who it's going to be?
And I also just want to mention real quick, too, CM Punk, 330 days as world champion.
Well done, Punk.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, we haven't had a long-term, the claps are there, I mean, and they're appropriate. We haven't had a long-term champion like that.
How long? Cena?
Quite some time. I mean, you're my statistician friend.
Cena has like a 350-day run or something like that, which I think is the most recent long. I know he's got like a year run. I forget how many. It was a few years back.
So we got about 14 days, 13 days until the pay-per-view, which means potentially he can drop this title in just under a year.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to hold on for the year long, or do you think there's going to be a huge change in momentum by the end?
I'll tell you why I don't think they will. If you look into the future, because the big payday is Cena Rock Royal Rumble, and that's coming up in February. A lot more powerful if Cena's had that, or if, I'm sorry, Punk.
Right,
if Punk's had that title for a year and 3 months or whatever at that time, if he's had this super long reign going up against The Rock, that's pay-per-view money. That's box office right there.
Right.
A lot more than if Punk then gets the belt back and he's only held it for a month. If you take the belt off him now, it kills the business of Royal Rumble.
But does it? I mean, is the excitement and just the overall lack of knowledge of what would happen of a Ryback versus Rock.
I mean, you never know.
There is something there right there. I mean, Ryback versus The Rock. I mean, it's a Goldberg situation.
Is he ready? I mean, maybe he is. I mean, we should actually mention the little Twitter, I guess, war between Goldberg and Ryback.
Yeah, Ryback claiming in a WWE magazine interview that he's a better athlete than Goldberg ever was,
and
better in the ring.
And that he is a fan of wrestling and he cares about it, and Goldberg only did it for the money.
Right, only did it for the money, where Ryback is there for life. This is what he loves to do.
He's never going to leave.
And Goldberg's response was kind of you're a joke.
You're a better athlete than me? I was on the Atlanta Falcons. I was in the NFL, you know? I mean, Brock Lesnar, didn't cut it on the Vikings.
Right.
He looked great in the preseason game, but this is a man who ruled the UFC and the WWE, and he couldn't cut it in the NFL.
But you also got to say, though, Brock hadn't played football since high school when he tried to.
And physically, he was like awesome enough.
He wasn't like a football player that had played all through college. I mean, he was just like freak of nature that's like, I'm going to try out for football. Goldberg played college ball. He played high school ball. He played all the way up to the NFL.
I mean, Goldberg gets a lot of heat for hurting people in the past or for not having a loving commitment.
For ending the career of the Hitman. A lot of people are very angry that he put Bret Hart out.
But at the same time, Goldberg, like Ryback, was a stud, and I think a lot of people were just jealous that he was able to make millions of dollars in a short period of time and create a career that everyone only hopes and dreams for, but not many people get to have.
I mean, he was awesome, though.
Yeah, Goldberg was. I actually had the honor of racing Goldberg on the History Channel's first episode of Automaniacs, which he hosted, and I raced him he was in a cop car, and I was in an old Al Capone car.
Oh.
So, yeah, the two of us, we had a little race. I've got to find the footage of that.
How'd the race go? Did you?
I lost, but my car was better, and I was told I had to lose to Goldberg. They actually came up and they're like, "You have to lose to Goldberg." And
everything's a work.
Yeah, and we pulled up. And I said, he beat me the first time. We pulled up to reset, and I said, "I'm going to get you this time." He goes, "Oh no, you're not, because this is my show." So
you can't mess with the guy on his own show. I mean, you got to show respect like CM Punk demands.
And that day, I got to say, he actually it was his wife's birthday, and he served cake to the entire crew. Great guy to work with.
There you go. And he loves animals.
Absolutely. Great guy, Bill Goldberg.
So we go from the speaking segment, we go to another match. And this was interesting. We come back from commercial. Brodus Clay already in the ring. No entrance this week for Brodus Clay. No dancing with the Funkadactyls. Instead, we got to set up for a match against an angry Alberto Del Rio.
And what happened to Brodus? Brodus was hot a couple months back.
Yeah, I mean, he was hot since he's debuted as the Funkasaurus. In these last couple of weeks, we've seen the exact opposite. We've seen him just be demoted, so to speak.
And the fans were still responding to him, though, right? I mean, they were almost like pulling his entrance out and pulling the stuff away that the fans cheer for to not get those cheers.
Yeah, for whatever reason, creative sees something different going on right now, and they're pulling back on a little bit of the hokiness for him. Yeah. And then the push. I mean, we've seen what essentially amounts to 2 squashes in 2 weeks, pretty much.
Yeah, he got the crap beat out of him by Del Rio tonight. Yeah. Got him caught up in the arm bar and just ripped his arm off, and then it was done. And it was like, oh, we're Del Rio sending a message to Orton, and who gives a crap about Brodus Clay?
Yeah. And if you want to believe the rumors, the internet, we never know if, take it or leave it, but they're saying that there could be a character change, and for Brodus, we could be going back to the Monster, so maybe that's...
Maybe, but it's tough to build a monster by jobbing him and squashing him out.
Very true. I mean, you'd have to take him off TV for a little bit and repackage him.
Yeah, and the dancing was working. I mean, that's what everyone loved about him was the funk attack. What are they called?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Funkadactyls.
Funkadactyl. Sticking with Santino with that. I mean, there was a lot, I think, left in the tank for the Funkasaurus. Can you imagine him and Santino doing some stuff? I mean, that would have been a lot of fun. The kids would have loved that stuff.
Great for Saturday morning.
I think they did do some stuff, but doing more of that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if we see a pattern building over these next couple of months. If we see Brodus in these squash predicaments much more often, because it is interesting to see how creative he makes their changes on the fly.
Yeah, it's very
changes what's going on, who's getting the big push.
Yeah, I mean, a year ago, Alex Riley was being pushed to the moon, and when's the last time you saw him? I think he's still on the roster, right?
No, yeah, he's on the roster, but you don't see or hear of him too much right now. Instead, you're getting the Alberto Del Rio being pushed,
who deserves to be. I mean, in my opinion, just an amazing worker. Obviously from amazing stock. His uncle Mil Mascaras, his father Dos Caras Jr. legends in Mexico, and this guy's got it in his blood.
Yeah, and this was the first squash of the night, one of many. Our next match was we were talking about Santino. Him and Zack Ryder have a tag team match against the Primetime Players.
Your clients.
I love them. Millions of dollars, and millions of dollars came through today. I mean, Primetime Players have been back on a winning streak again, building their momentum the last couple weeks, trying to get back into the picture ever since being eliminated from the tag team tournament.
Yeah, and they did a thing. It was a few weeks back. Remember, they had the tag title match, and it was taken away and given to Daniel Bryan, and then they came back a week later and just started like destroying people, saying we're gonna take what we want. Things have been taken away, and then they kind of went away from that. Like, they've just been in matches. I mean, they're still getting pushed, but I liked that when they were like, we're going to start taking stuff, and I wish they had continued with that kind of mentality of we're going to go, we're sick of this. We're sick of being screwed over time and time again. We're going to take what we want.
I think they need numbers. I think they need more people with them, whether it's a mouthpiece, whether it's more, another enforcer, whether it's just something. I brought it up. I think Big Zeke would be a phenomenal addition to their little group. Just more power. You don't see much of Ezekiel Jackson on TV. He's a big behemoth, a big monster. I think he'd fit in well. It works with the theme. Still Primetime Players.
Maybe a Mason Ryan, possibly.
I don't know about
maybe not the personality.
Not the personality, but I'd stick
the body.
I'd stick with the color and go into JTG right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the group of brothers.
Was it you saying you want a new Nation of Domination?
Yeah, I think they would make up a great Nation of Domination-ish type team. I mean, Nation of Domination pretty much launched the career of The Rock.
Absolutely.
People weren't responding to Rocky Maivia so much until
Rocky sucks.
There you go. And then he turned heel with the Nation. The Rock was born, and you had the emergence of stars. You even had, like, Farouk's career.
Mark Henry.
A lot of careers went to the next level from the Nation.
Someone I was thinking of, if they re-signed MVP. He would be a great leader of the Primetime Players.
Makes a lot of sense.
That actually would be great. You're right.
That'd be awesome.
I wonder, maybe we can get some calls going in and see if we can get him as a guest on the show in the future. I know he's a free agent, so to speak. I believe,
MVP?
Yeah, I believe his contract's coming up in Japan. I think so. I think he's almost done there. And I think there may be a potential that he's looking to get back into the American scene.
Yeah.
And I thought I read something a few weeks ago or a month ago that he's putting out some feelers to WWE.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I read that too. Like, it was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And once again, he is a Paul Heyman guy.
Oh, is he? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually kind of fell out of watching WWE for a couple of years and was more of a TNA guy, so I missed almost the entire MVP run. So I've really never watched him very much, but I know he was really popular and supposedly really good, right?
I almost scouted him into XPW back in like 2001. His name was Antonio Banks on the Indies. I had some conversations, was looking to bring him in. Thankfully for him, he didn't come to us, and his career worked out.
Pretty good for
fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be a really good fit, just character-wise, from what I know of him with the Primetime Players. That would be great. Tonight the Primetime Players didn't need a manager. They squashed. This was another squash, back-to-back squashes here, and Titus just throw him up in the massive powerbomb onto Ryder.
Yeah, gets him up elevation in the air, gets the cover for the 3 count, and it was less about the match and more about setting up an emergence of new characters. So we're seeing the evolution of what we thought was the Encore or the band, but now we officially know them as the 3MB.
The 3-man band.
The 3-man band, complete with choreography.
I gotta say, they were on, I think it was on SmackDown this week. They came and did their air guitar thing, and at least they looked this week like they kind of should be together. They were all kind of dressed the same. Like, at least they didn't look completely out of place.
I'm not buying Jinder Mahal with the jeans and the jacket and the turban, and it's not screaming rock band to me.
No, it's not screaming rock band to me, but it's better than it was when they were all in their
they're all
garb
wearing
that.
leather jackets.
And then Drew McIntyre with his little accent gets on the microphone once again, just not screaming band hype man, right there.
No.
If this is the best writing we're getting right now, I can see why Vince is going crazy backstage.
And I mean, I also got to say for those three guys, if they're not getting the writing, they need to do something themselves and get themselves together. Maybe they are, and say,
Maybe that was the leather jackets.
I mean, maybe maybe that was them. I hope it was. I mean, at least it would show that they're trying to do something, and
solidarity as a crew and brotherhood.
Yeah, let's try to do something here, and not just be three dudes thrown together that are each given one line.
They're three dudes thrown together and given a ridiculous gimmick.
Yeah, and they might be, but what they need to do is get together and say, how do we make this work? And it's on them. It's on those three and not creative. Creative is going to throw whatever at them. It's up to those guys. If CM Punk was handed that stuff, do you think he'd do that, or you think he'd turn around and find something to get it over? He'd figure it out himself.
Jim Ross talks about that a lot, that it's the choice of the superstars of what they do with their time on TV. If they're given an opportunity, if they're given 3 minutes to be on national television every week, it's up to them to make the most of those 3 minutes. So even if the writing isn't what they're into, it is what you're saying. You got to find a way to make it work.
Perfect example, years ago, The Brood, Edge, Christian, and Gangrel, what brought Edge out is when Gangrel kind of dropped the ball a little bit on the mic. Edge wasn't supposed to have the mic, grabbed the mic and cut a promo, which launched his career.
Oh, cool, yeah.
There's a thing
that
in
was
wrestling,
an on-the-fly thing.
There's a thing in wrestling when you're getting in about respect. I mean, it's the storyline with CM Punk, but the way you treat people in the back, and that there's also a vibe that you should always kind of stay quiet and only talk when spoken. Only answer questions when asked, only speak when spoken to. But the fact of the matter is it's almost like a brainwashing technique that's used to keep everybody complacent in their place. Because when you look at history, it is the squeaky wheel that gets the noise. And if you don't blend into the status quo, and if you don't do what you're supposedly supposed to do, and you do make waves and make noise and ruffle the feathers, you're gonna get more of a you're gonna get more opportunity to shine. You'll get the ball more often, and then it's up to you to see if you run with it.
But I mean, look what happened in the past week. JTG was like, yeah, I'm going to speak up right now,
And then he was on TV the next week.
And he gets squashed, and we don't see him ever again.
And they put him back in his place. And now they want to see, is he going to still rise to the occasion, or is he that, is he one to have a big mouth? When you think no one's listening, but can you maintain that mouth when people are listening, or are you going to be intimidated, scared to actually maintain your position?
Yeah, but you also have to pick your place, your place to do that. You can't just go to Twitter and go off or something like that. You almost have to pick your time on national television to do something and try to get something over instead of going and complaining online. I don't think that's the right way to do it.
Dolph Ziggler found some time to do that tonight. He went up and got on the mic in the middle of the ring and took his time, spoke, complained. He said, listen, this man Ryback, who's been around for just a few months, is getting a match against CM Punk, perhaps at Hell in a Cell. He's like, I'm the Money in the Bank winner. I should be getting a shot. This is bullcrap. And
he said he wants to win the title, and then he wants to cash in his belt and have both belts after the Hell in the Cell.
Dolph Ziggler gets in the ring, says he always steals the show, and he will continue to steal the show. And he's actually been guaranteeing that he's going to walk out of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view with the championship title. Pretty much saying he's going to cash in this week.
I hope so.
In 2 weeks.
It's time. Let's see this guy with a belt. Let's give him the ball, please. Everybody loves this guy. Everyone you
but
hear
he could only cash in. He could only cash in for that SmackDown champion, for Sheamus's championship.
Only Sheamus's, yeah.
So I think he was really trying to petition to be in the match against CM Punk, saying if the decision is Cena and the decision is Ryback, if it's one of them two, why don't you throw me into the mix because I deserve to be there too.
Right. So he can then take that and then use his thing and cash in and have both titles and I guess be the undisputed champion.
Undisputed.
Yeah.
Well, someone else thought they should be the undisputed, and that was David Otunga, who said he had a little pot belly tonight too. He must have had some ramen or something over the weekend.
Maybe extra sodium, retaining some
maybe
water.
Maybe yesterday was his cheat day.
Could have been. I had a crazy cheat day yesterday.
Did you?
I was at the amusement park. I did a chocolate.
Oh, you went to Magic Mountain.
Went to Magic Mountain. Did a chocolate funnel cake. I've never had a chocolate funnel cake before. Actually, chocolate batter. Like my friends, yeah, that is worth the clap.
God.
My friends were like sharing, like the two friends do a funnel cake,
Right.
and it was my birthday, so I figured I got to put it down myself.
Didn't come back up after X2?
No, man, I can hold that food down right those roller coasters like a champ. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract and digress
it's
right
okay,
there,
yeah.
but I mean, you brought up the sweets. And
People are like, what's Magic Mountain?
But perhaps David Otunga did have some chocolate-covered funnel cake over the
Never know.
weekend. But he showed up. He's like, "Look, I got the brains, I got the body. I should be the one who gets a title shot as well." So him and Dolph are going back and forth a little bit, and then.
What's your feelings on Otunga? Do you think he's a guy that WWE can push for profits, or do you think they've done with him what they're going to be able to do with him? I know you had a nickname for him when he was walking in.
What did I call him again?
I think you took Christian's nickname. I think you
called him Captain Charisma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, David. I do like David Otunga. It's just, his mic work.
You can talk bad about him. It's okay.
His mic work needs work. I think he's pretty good in the ring. I think the character needs some polish.
Common theme we talk about, a polishing of the characters.
The hardest part.
Which comes from the writing staff, though, at that point.
Yeah.
But you see, like, the basic character of Otunga is very similar to Sandow. And look what Sandow does with that character, like the intelligent, I'm above everyone. That type of thing he's flawless with him.
Otunga might be able to use some acting classes.
Yeah, because Sandow brings you facial expressions. He builds, brings you a mindset, a mental psychology behind why he does what he does, when he does what he does. Otunga's missing that a little bit.
Yeah,
but
you don't believe he
wait.
believes what he's saying.
What do you mean he needs acting classes when he has starred in a movie with Halle Berry?
Has he started?
That's the movie that's going to be coming out.
Right,
he was out for some time.
Yeah,
shooting.
but
I mean, he got the nod from WWE Films that he was the go-to guy for acting abilities.
Yeah, we'll see how his acting abilities were.
We've seen like A-list actors get in that ring and try to like cut a promo, and it just bombs. Except for Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was awesome. But,
A-listers.
All those guys. It's a much different. I mean, it's much
very
different.
You know where you can get people talking about A-listers? On the current season of AfterBuzz TV lineups.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're talking about all
a
these shows on
segue.
AfterBuzz, and you can check it out on AfterBuzzTV.com. You can go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can check out the archives on YouTube. I mean, AfterBuzz, you can buzz about the shows you like.
Absolutely.
There's one for everybody.
Hey, Walking Dead just came on last night.
10 million people it did.
What a great show that was, too.
Lots of zombie deaths.
But I don't think you're going to see Otunga, just quickly more, leave because of his obviously A-list connections to Hollywood too. He's going to be around for a little bit. He's marrying Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah, it helps having an Oscar-winning wife for nominated.
There's a little pull.
I just want to see him like believe in what he's saying, a little bit more emotion when he speaks. It feels a little bit kind of monotone, and there's not a lot of up and down with him.
I would agree.
So.
I think there's a need for improvement there, and hopefully someone will pass that information along.
Yeah. But I do like him.
But just not enough.
Just not, yeah.
So
but hey, you know what? Stone Cold, stunning Steve Austin back in the day used to make me go watch get a sandwich when I was a kid. So
if it's time to keep the house clean and the payroll lean, is he one that's got to go, or you'd keep him in the back burner?
I might keep him on the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep him.
So if you got to drop someone from the roster right now, who you dropping?
Ooh.
Josh, that question's coming to you next, so you got to be ready for this. Who you dropping?
Wow. I might drop. I'm not a big Justin Gabriel fan.
Oh.
I know I know you're a big fan, but I just
doesn't make the ratings fly. So Ryan says bye-bye.
Yeah. I just he doesn't fire up enough to me. I feel like he kind of walks through his matches a little bit, or at least recently. Just my opinion. I'm trying to think who else.
Josh, who's the first one to go? Who are you getting rid of?
Heath Slater, man, get him out of there. Break up that whole band. I don't see. I've seen it so many times. But it's not. He's just not. He's not convincing with it, and I don't think his ring work. I mean, I've never seen anything spectacular come out of it. I don't like him. He doesn't represent my kind very good.
I'll tell you someone I'd like to see go. Not because I think they're untalented, because I'd like to see them go out and work, Japan and some other places, and then come back as Jack Swagger. I'd like to see him go out. He's only been in that system. I think he's got a lot of ability, but I think his growth is almost stagnant right now. I think he needs to get out of the WWE, he needs to go work some other places and then come back. He's got a ton of ability, but I just don't feel that audience connection with him.
Continue his education with a new crop of professors.
Look at Sandow. Sandow was in the WWE as Idol Stevens. You know, had some, and you know, he was kind of a mid-carder, right, at best, in the tag team.
Yeah, tag team division.
Went down to Puerto Rico, went around the world. Now he's back and he's pushing towards the main event. I think we could see that with Swagger, but I think he needs to get out first and then come back.
Comes back. Brings a little fire, brings a little new attitude, a little new flavor.
New experience, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting thoughts. I'm not even going to tell you who I think should get rid of.
Oh, I'm
just asking the questions. I'm just
he hangs us out to dry.
Well, yeah, Japan will tighten you up for sure, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a different beast.
It's a completely different beast.
Speaking of beast, Ryback, man.
Look at that. There he was. He was working that transition.
Yeah.
He was working that segue. He's like, how am I going to get over this? Back to the action. Beast. There it is.
Ryback comes out.
A new nickname that Michael Cole's been calling him for the last 2 weeks. He's now the Big Hungry.
I didn't catch that.
Stop trying to make that happen.
I see him getting a Snickers ad or something coming up in the future.
That'd be cool.
I see a partnership and Ryback getting a Snickers ad.
One of those where the other guy, you know, turns into Betty White or whatever and have Ryback in there. You're just a beast when you're angry.
They got to reverse it where he's all like calm and like, you know, and like out of it and like not paying attention. And then when he comes back, he's like the worst Ryback, the angry Ryback.
Ryback trashing a living room like, here, eat. And then it's like a little girl named Stacy or something. It's like, oh, thanks, God.
That would be pretty good.
But yeah, he destroyed him, and Dolph made a business decision and said, you know what?
Got out of there.
David, I'm going to let you to this. You know, this was an impromptu handicap match that I wasn't ready for.
We knew that was going to happen.
You could see it coming a mile away.
I think you said, one of you two said.
I said, watch Otunga's gets pinned. Yeah.
It's exactly what happened, and we see the Ryback machine grow.
Yeah, and because Ziggler's has done that a couple times now, has kind of bolted out with
he runs
in the middle of a match.
He runs. He takes his briefcase and runs.
And goes home.
Takes his ball and goes home.
Briefcase to go to your head.
What a spoiled brat he is. That show-stealing brat.
Damn, I love heel Ziggler.
All right, we go back to the back though. We got Mr. McMahon and Paul Heyman, with Heyman pitching for a match. CM Punk demanded that Heyman went and talked to Vince that CM Punk wanted to wrestle Vince again.
And Heyman says to Vince, we don't want to go to war with you. You know, he keeps warning, as he's been warning CM Punk. So he told Vince, you know, we don't want to do this with you. We don't want to go to war with you. But Punk has this idea.
Was it a good idea? People were excited about that match last week.
You know, it's kind of nothing happened out of this whole segment, too. They said, Vince said, okay, but I'm going to fight you to Heyman.
Yeah, and then Heyman just pretty much said, no.
Yeah, but would Vince be able to say yes? and then it happens, you know, right? Because they just make just random. I mean, they can make the guy selling popcorn wrestle a match just whenever they want, it seems. So they always do it. Why doesn't Vince just say, yes, you are going to do it?
Inconsistency of the ebb and flow of storylines going on there. I mean, it's just
breaking the rules that you set up. I have a big problem with this. Is a sports league. There are very specific rules set up in a sports league, and they just they decide what rules are going to follow and what they don't.
And from backstage segments, we go to another backstage segment, seeing Stryker in the hallway trying to talk to General Manager AJ about the situation that happened. I guess it was on SmackDown, where Stryker was trying to get an interview with Kane and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan put Stryker in the yes lock.
Or the no lock.
The no lock. And then got choke slammed for his troubles. Stryker said he wanted to, you know, he wanted an apology.
He wanted an apology, and that Kane is crazy and nuts. And AJ said, "What'd you call me?"
Yeah, that's right.
You know
what'd you call me?
Crazy is the trigger word.
She starts to giggle.
The trigger word.
She giggled for a long time.
Yeah, a long
uncomfortably long time, and then says, "You lace up your boots. You're going against Kane tonight." King, and like walks away. And that Stryker doing his him and AJ are so uncomfortable together on camera. Every week that I've seen them on camera together, he gets so quiet with her because she's in her own world trying to do her emoting thing. And he's like, "What am I?" She's like, "Who are you?" who are you? It's like, you're the GM. Like, you know that I announce for this company. And she's like, and he's like, okay, wait, I gotta fight Kane? Oh, okay.
What do you guys think about her as GM? Are you enjoying this experiment of AJ as GM, or?
It's doing nothing for me.
Yeah.
Zero qualifications for the job, first of all.
Yeah.
Didn't understand why Vince gave her the job in the first
no
place.
explanation.
I think it was, well, obviously this girl's getting a lot of popularity. They're, really liking her, and I think they wanted
she should run the show.
Well, I think from a writing standpoint, it's like, well, we need to find something more for her. Oh, let's put her as general manager. But I think that was the wrong way to go.
What a great way to promote the divas, you know? As your champion, a person who's so over right now, let her be the champion.
She should be wrestling.
Watch the show.
That's a novel idea, Josh.
God, because tighten up, people, tighten up.
But you are not a successful soap opera writer.
No.
So your ideas carry no weight.
But to me,
have no validity.
As Paul Heyman was.
I'm gonna interfere in one of your matches. Oh gosh, to the title. It's a crazy. Oh wait, it is crazy fans.
What was I say? Paul Heyman always says to accentuate people's strengths and hide their weaknesses, and AJ's strength is wrestling. She's one of the better wrestlers, I think, of all the divas, and they're not. I mean, she's really good, I think, with some of the character stuff. I think she's pretty good, but her strength is in the ring, and I think
they view her strength as being her cuteness and her girl next door, nerdy girl vibe.
Right.
So they're not really seeing the physical aspects, and that once again goes against Vince's beliefs of the state of WWE's union, that it's all about action. It's not about the action. It's about the drama when it comes to her. And the awkwardness of what's going on when that trigger word is said.
Yeah.
She's hot, though.
Yeah. Oh, she's very cute.
She's hot.
You like crazy chicks?
Who doesn't?
They're all crazy.
Oh, where's your girlfriend? Did you tell her that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I've had a girlfriend given the old "you're crazy," and then they don't appreciate that.
No,
she nothing they dislike more than being called crazy. I think.
Well,
you're being crazy right now, right?
Well, there's other words that they dislike with that. It starts with the same letter, but which is the no word. But
the no word.
Yeah, it's a no.
Into a yes match.
Into a yes match.
For the United States Championship, Antonio Cesaro defends against the man who you think should be axed.
Against Justin Gabriel.
You think give him the boot?
I didn't say I think.
No,
you
did.
You said
I heard Ryan Clum say that Justin Gabriel should be fired and released from WWE.
I did not say that. You said
threw him right under the bus.
Sorry, I am never getting hired there ever now.
And he had his shot tonight, Ryan. What did you think he did with his shot?
I mean, it was all right. I was watching Cesaro more than him. This is about Antonio.
Cesaro said not only is he going to elevate the status of the United States Championship, but he's also going to elevate the status of the United States in general.
Yes.
A bold political statement by Antonio Cesaro and his attempt to improve world affairs, apparently.
And a guy with a huge upside. This guy has so much potential. He's that guy. I saw, what was it? He made a quote I read today. We're talking about Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, because they all came from Ring of Honor. They're all from the same time. And he said that the difference between him and them is he's got the superstar physique and size. He can wrestle like them, but he's got the size that they're looking for in WWE, which is true.
Doesn't have the personality that you're looking for a top guy. He's got elements that are good, and I definitely once again agree with you of the upsides of Cesaro and him being a future superstar.
What was his character like? I never really watched him in the Indies very much.
Claudio Castagnoli.
Right.
He was very European.
Kings of Wrestling with him and Chris Hero, who's now Cassius Ono in
Cassius.
Cassius Ono.
Is it not Cassius?
Is it Cassius?
Like Muhammad Ali?
That's with a C, and he's with a K.
Well, okay, because they don't want to go directly, but I think it's supposed to I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I have no idea.
Look at you, a little enunciation. You're going with the little alliteration. I don't know what we even call that. Cassius.
I thought it was Cassius, but
very Shakespearean.
I'm going to have to go watch some NXT and find out.
Yeah.
I will report back next Monday.
Chris Hero had a nasty altercation with a fan back in the day, like about 5-10 years ago.
Tell me about it, Josh.
Oh my God, yeah, because after the Punk thing, I was looking up that stuff, and like, yeah, he was like, I think maybe he said some racial slurs to some gentlemen in the front row, and they were like, oh yeah, all you hear is like the guys are like, oh, you want to be racist? You want to be racist? And he's like, yeah, come on. During the fight, the guy outside the ring gives him, a chest slap, and he's like, oh,
or a chop.
A chop, yeah, sorry. And then and one of the fans who he was yelling at gives him a Ric Flair chop right to the chest too, and he just explodes. He was throwing chairs. I was like, whoa.
I'm exploding with the enjoyment of seeing your exuberance and excitement as you talk about the story. Because if I'm not mistaken, that segment actually aired on a True TV television show where they were there for a show doing, bringing the cameras into a Ring of Honor event. I think it could have been a complete work. I could be wrong as well.
All right,
but look at, once again, we talk about what are those things that help bring wrestling fans back to the party, and it's blurring the lines of reality. It's trying to blend fiction with nonfiction, make people question what's part of the script, what's off script.
Yeah.
Because you're pumped right now.
It makes me think of when Punk cut his now famous shoot promo. JBL commented after, "Is it real? Was it not? It doesn't matter if you're asking that question. He did his job."
Absolutely.
That's what brought me back. Brought me back.
Yeah. So when you have to say,
Full power.
wow, did he really get hurt? Or wow, did he really say something he wasn't supposed to say? Those are the moments, when CM Punk is sitting there and talking to Triple H and says, how many times you just say, well, I don't think he has what it takes when you're laying in bed with your wife. Those moments are like, ooh, did they know he was going to say that?
Right.
Those are the moments that are great.
There was a couple of moments that I thought were great in that match between Cesaro and Gabriel. One, Justin Gabriel jumping off the top and Cesaro delivering his European uppercut.
I love that uppercut.
It didn't throw him up this time. It was from the Justin jump.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I mean, the aggressive nature of that hit was truly phenomenal. And then there was another moment that at least brought some pleasure into my mind, and as I take pleasure in others' discomforts, I guess. Justin Gabriel's 450, not so spectacular, the attempt today. A little clumsy, a little sloppy. I told you that I feel like every time before he does that move, you see in his eyes just a look of regret.
Why did I decide to make this my finisher?
Yeah, it's great every once in a while to wow the crowd with such a spectacular move, but to have to deliver it anywhere from 2 to 5 times a week. It's a scary move to keep doing over and over and over.
And that's a good lesson for young wrestlers. Like when you're coming up with your finishing hold, you get to pick something you can do for 20 years or so, and that isn't going to beat your body up. Sometimes you want to be smart about what you're choosing.
Yeah,
and if you're doing a 450 split, if you choose that, you are going to do that. If you make it to a certain level, forever.
Yeah, like Hogan.
People are going to expect it.
Right? Hogan said, I wouldn't have chosen the leg drop to take a butt bump every night, couple times a night, for 30 years.
Hogan likes to complain a lot, though, man. I mean, I could sit and jump off the top every night, I think, and I'd be okay. I mean, maybe it was the old days, the rings were a little stiffer, but I mean,
that's true.
He's complaining about a leg drop. I mean, there's nothing crazy or out there or dare I say dangerous.
No,
about
but taking that butt drop on the butt for all those years. I mean, that hip replacement probably came from a lot of that.
Receiving Hogan's leg drop is probably worse than him giving it.
Yeah, probably.
Man, I took a leg drop this last week. I was involved in a battle royal at a benefit show or a tribute show. In my arch nemesis, the Hobo, dropped a leg drop on my face.
Oh, at the Willie Mack show?
Yeah, and actually chipped my tooth this last week.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the dangers of wrestling.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I got a little chip going on
you do
right
have
there.
a little chip.
A little chip going on. You got to
Battle scars.
That darn stinking Hobo.
A lot of these guys like Foley, they talk about these broken bones, torn ligaments, shredded tendons. I've broken a pinky, dislocated my elbow, and chipped a tooth. I mean, I don't.
You've been lucky.
No, man. I think I've had it horrible. I mean, I mean, the injuries are. It's brutal. I don't know how these guys deal with it.
Well, there was no risk of major injuries than Kane versus Matt Striker match. He pleaded with him like, Kane, please, I just want an apology. I don't even want to fight, and Kane said, "Well, here, let's bring it in. Let's get a hug.
Hug it out.
Think about your anger management. Think about the progress you've been making." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Here, give me a hug."
Which you gotta be like. Do you honestly think is that how you would approach trying to get it out of a
I'd
match?
give Kane a hug.
Yeah, but
I got a personality. I think that brings people's guards down.
Right.
I think it would be a nice hug.
But Stryker's like, well, you know what? We don't have to have the match. I want an apology instead. And like, why would it be like, screw you? I'm gonna kick your butt. You know, like that's not the way to go about like.
And coming from a school teacher who should have more intelligence.
Yeah, you would think he'd be a little bit smarter to try to get one over on Kane. That wasn't a very good. He didn't dangle a very good carrot in front of Kane to try to get out of that.
All to set up the light-loving, fun-loving, joking personality of Kane in his post-match interview with Stryker, who's laying there. Is Kane went into like
champions.
He like got down on the mat and like the Lionel Richie pose. You know, he had like the arm up and legs extended and started asking Stryker some questions.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then went over I'm the Drag Team Champions.
Yeah.
The funny Kane.
And we moved on to Miz TV.
Miz TV.
Nice setup they have out there. Miz asked Kofi to come down to speak to him. And Miz talking some good old-fashioned trash, a little bit laced with truth probably.
Yeah, a little bit. And you know, I thought Kofi was good, but I was sitting there on the edge of my seat.
You thought it was going to be a Kofi Kingston moment.
I was hoping this would be Kofi's 316. I thought they kind of, you know, he set him up and Kofi was sitting there and I was hoping Kofi would just explode with something, and it was good, but it felt like it was, you know, the writing staff stuff, you know, your basic stuff, and he did it really well, but I was sitting there going, just throw away the script and just go at it, man. Like I wanted that to be his moment, and we didn't get what I wanted, but it was good.
But you got something good out of Miz. You got Miz telling Kofi
very good, yeah,
that essentially that Kofi's the guy that'll put smiles on people's faces, but Miz is the guy that those people will never ever forget, and essentially told Kofi nobody cares about you.
You're just the guy that says boom, boom, boom.
We should, to foreshadow a little bit, Kofi definitely took the smile off his face a little later on.
That match coming up a few segments later, so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a highlight of the show this week.
The one time that we almost got out of our seats. So
yeah, well, and then the next match is my favorite match from last week.
Yes.
Was Sheamus and Barrett, another rematch, and these guys did not disappoint again. I mean, you look for this when Ziggler gets the title. Guess who Sheamus is gonna be moving on to? Probably is Wade Barrett. They're gonna have a great rivalry.
Yeah, and a 2-segment match. I mean, we lost a little bit. We had some technical issues again this week, and we lost the very end of the match. But from what we saw, I think we got the majority of it. And it was another really solid match between these two. Probably the best match of the night.
Yeah, all we missed was Big Show just pulling Sheamus over the ropes outside and just getting the disqualification.
I loved Sheamus's shoulder tackle off the apron to the outside on Wade Barrett. Barrett went to the outside. Sheamus went through the ropes and kind of ran off the apron and hit that flying shoulder tackle. I thought it was a solid, strong-looking hit.
And Barrett got Sheamus tied up in the ropes, gave him a stiff kicks flat to the face today too.
I also go ahead.
Which looked awesome.
I also liked when Sheamus was trying to set him up for his basic hook the arms on the ropes and the 10 forearms to the chest. Barrett moving his arm and he put the other arm and like they kind of
everyone usually gets into position for Sheamus.
Right.
A little bit more realism right there with fighting it off.
Like he had one arm hooked and then he pulled that off and he hooked the other arm. He pulled that one off. They went back and forth for a second with that. I really liked that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good moment. It's definitely an interesting program that I'm looking forward to seeing. I bet if house shows are coming to town anywhere near you, I don't know if they're actually booked on the match. I got to imagine that you're going to see Sheamus versus Wade Barrett at the house shows. Definitely going to be a match worth seeing as they develop a program for for the long-term future.
Yeah,
because you're going to be seeing more of these guys against each other.
It's almost one of those things you're sitting like, I'm enjoying this so much, but maybe they should have saved this for pay-per-view matches because these guys are real. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah, but I think they feel that they're going to step it up even more in those pay-per-view situations, knowing that these two guys are two of the guys on the roster that are probably the most hungry to make the most of an opportunity and propel their careers to the next level and become ultimate, top-level superstars making the big money.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the next few segments that came up, we missed due to some technical issues with our DVR in the stream. So any fans, give us a ring at 424-BUZZ over, 424-256-1729 if you guys want to talk that segments. We know that it was a Divas match between Layla and Eve.
Yeah, and Eve got the pin, and I guess there was a foot on the rope,
But the ref
which the ref didn't catch, and Eve kicking her foot off at the end. And there was
also a segment between Vince McMahon and Cena. Cena essentially saying,
the doctors don't matter, okay?
Yeah,
he's ready.
I'm ready to go.
You ignore the doctors, I'm going to ignore the doctors too.
And then there was another one with Ryback too, right?
Yeah, where I guess Vince essentially called Ryback. I don't know if Vince called Ryback or Ryback said about himself being an unstoppable king of the mountain.
Vince called him that, and then Ryback said, "Feed me, Punk."
Feed him, Punk. So I mean, something that we're going to get to later in the final segment, see what really happens. Who's going to get the nod? Is it going to be Cena? Is it going to be CM Punk? Yeah. It's going to happen at Hell in the Cell, October 28th on pay-per-view. We may even talk about it after that show. We'll see. We're trying to find out about that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That's right.
Which, it sounds like this whole feed me more thing almost comes off of real life, because it sounds like this from what I just watched an interview, about a 5-minute interview you can find online with Al Snow, talking about how much Ryback, a.k.a. Ryan Reeves, when he was on Tough Enough, how much he eats and he just eats all the time, to the point where he's sweating because it's actually almost physically exhausting for them to do it, because he's putting so much energy into eating. It takes a lot of energy for him to do that.
They have to always check his pockets and stuff, because he'll always be shoving cookies and power bars
and stuff in
He
it.
looks bigger to me this week. I mean, I think his chest is actually growing, and his upper body just looks enormous.
He's one giant muscle.
He's an intimidating guy.
Yeah.
300-pounder.
And I think he's just got to be one of those guys that he's just a freak of nature, because he's probably just processing that food so fast. Maybe he's got a super high metabolism, processing everything. He just eats all the time. He's never not hungry.
He's obviously lifting constantly too.
Yeah.
So his body's using those 10,000 calories.
It's really, as I've been getting more into bodybuilding and lifting and stuff as I've been wrestling, you find out how important nutrition is to it. And
you're pretty into bodybuilding these days?
About the last 7 months, I've been trying to get my body up to par. And I was actually just talking with my trainer today, and he said of the 3 things the most important: sleep, diet, training's 3.
And you've been taking that advice?
Yeah, I'm doing very well.
And you're looking like a regular Lou Ferrigno.
I'm getting there. We need a little more time, but I don't look like the dude that sat at the craft service table for the past 10 years like I have, so I don't look like a doughboy anymore.
Next match up on the show was the Rhodes Scholars versus Epico and Primo, who have definitely been getting the short hand of the stick lately creatively. Yeah. They are on a massive losing streak.
Yeah, they're like the team you throw in, like, we want to make these guys look good, so these guys are great wrestlers, let's put them in and get these guys over at the expense of Primo and Epico. They're using them to put guys over because they're great wrestlers too.
Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes were working great as a tag team. Tandem maneuvers, constant tags. And Damian Sandow got the win with the Terminus.
The Terminus.
I mean, they look like a legit tag team. Like, they've been together for a good long time.
I definitely see them becoming the tag team champions. I believe it will happen at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, at first I thought they might be just like one of these throw-together teams, but, the 2 of them they're both such good wrestlers. They're both so smart. They've been around for a minute, and you can tell they're making the most of this. They're not taking this not seriously. You can tell Punk and Sandow are going to try to make a run. So,
Rhodes
I'm looking excited to it.
Cody Rhodes has been hungry for a long time, wanting to prove himself. He wants to take himself out of the shadow of his father, out of Dusty's shadow, and he wants to prove that he is a legitimate contender to being a main event superstar.
Yeah. And he's better every time I see him on TV. Like, you see improvement in him all the time. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be better than his brother was. And Dustin Goldust was a big star as well. I think Cody's I think he's a future world champ.
You heard it here first from Ryan Clum.
Working his ass off.
Throws Justin Gabriel under the bus, but gives the rub to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, sorry, Justin. It's not his ability. It's his fire that I just don't know that Justin. and I could be completely wrong on this, but you know, I just don't see the fire in Justin Gabriel. Like he wants it. Like
I think
some
I'm
of
going
the
to ask
other
every
guys.
week who you know.
I'm not going to answer this question anymore.
Every single week, it's gonna be the segment. Keep the house clean and the payroll lean.
Yep.
Who's gotta go?
And I will answer that question now when you answer it first. So you give me yours, I'll give you mine from now on.
Josh, did you have given us an
Talk
answer?
about
or
throwing
did you-
under the bus. I got thrown under the bus here by GQ money, man.
Or did you avoid an answer? I don't even.
Oh no, Heath Slater.
Oh, Heath Slater. He gave it with a smile on his face,
I'm
and
just
he's
a fan.
throwing it out
I
there
don't have a
again.
future in this.
He never cares about getting a job with or seeing these guys. Someday I'm gonna see Gabriel. He's like, you scumbag.
It's funny how that happens, and I've had this happen in my career. That like when you grow up as a fan and you're watching people, and there's people that you hate, and then when you're working in the business and you're forced to work with these people that you grew up disliking,
Right.
and then you meet them and they're good people and you get along well with them, and you're like, wow. What a douchebag
Yeah.
I've been for years with my constant insults of this guy or that guy, and now it's like, oh, now he's my best buddy.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Is like for me, it's like, you know, I have an opinion on someone like Justin Gabriel, but at the same time, how long has he been wrestling? 5 years. I've been doing it a year. I'm sitting here talking with you about it. He's on Raw right now. You know, so who am I to at the same time say anything about it? You know, that's the way I kind of feel.
You're
with
Ryan
that.
Clum, and don't you
but
forget it.
I am, but I don't really have a right yet to
Be a
have an
star
opinion.
and be yourself. Yeah, I modified that catchphrase. a little bit. Self-worth campaign.
All right.
Let's move to the last match of the night. 2 segments to go, but the last match of the night, Miz versus Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, I guess there's only one part of this I care about talking
The
about.
match was very sloppy. Like,
was,
you know,
like-
and me as a fan, like I don't notice that stuff as well. But now when I'm sitting here watching it with wrestlers, y'all notice like these things.
Well, there was
so
just
much
something
more.
that didn't click. There was a couple of times that there just seemed to be miscues
Their
in
timing was off a little
communication.
bit.
And I think they're going to have to step that up, especially if they're going to have this match on Wednesday. But I think
the
it may be hard.
finish made up for it.
The timing was either way off or really good at the end there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can clean some stuff up, because Kofi Kingston went for trouble in paradise, and I mean, he kicked Miz straight in the face.
Almost knocked. It
the
looked like he
shit out of
knocked him
him.
out.
Wow, Josh.
That was a UFC kick right there.
I mean-
you don't see that stuff except for like MMA.
No, and the WWE production was loving it because they kept showing the slow mo.
And the medic is over there.
I mean,
getting the blood out.
Miz was cut open. I mean, they're dealing with. I mean,
I bet those are moments where they wish that they had like one super high speed camera so they can go to like
yeah.
400 frames per second and just see the wiggle of the impact in the cheek and the nose and the forehead. I mean, Miz's eyes were rolled back.
Yeah,
he
they
was
were.
very slow to get up.
Miz,
And
you're a
if they-
warrior.
and if they had bad timing in this match, I don't know how it's going to be improved.
Yeah.
When Miz is going to be a little bit dizzy
And
to
it's
shoot that
funny,
match tomorrow.
That was obviously a little bit of a mistake. He made a lot more contact than he intended to, but to me, it saved the match.
I think he did it
almost.
on purpose.
You think so?
I think he absolutely did it.
He was like, I blew the promo, so I'm gonna do what I do.
I think Kofi went in the back, and the whole all the boys started popping for him. Or like, way to put Miz in his place, way to shut him up, way to give him a shot under the guise of TV. That like this is what he was supposed to do, but it was one of those could be a little behind the scenes message to Miz saying, get your ego in check.
But what if it was the Miz's idea? What if he sat Kofi aside and was like,
Just
"Man,
blast me.
Just blast me, dude. We got to get this thing over because our promo
We need to make
didn't-
it
Yeah,
look
let's
good.
do it.
And it was a little bit of
I think
different.
that would have been a misinterpretation of what the
Not
Miz
that
had to
hard.
say. I think Miz was more like, just make it look like you blast me.
Yeah.
Make it look like you blast
And
me.
I think part of it was usually he does it facing the person, right? He pushed him off the ropes. He went chest first and bounced ricocheted back, and so he took it from a different angle than you normally would. So that's probably where that happened.
Definitely worth going and finding the YouTube clip. I'm sure people are going to be
Go to
blowing that up.
WWE.com, check that thing out.
Zooming in, doing replays after replays. Great moment.
Boom, boom, baby.
One time that got us out of our seats, it was you and I both. When that happened, like, oh man, that was a great moment. That was the best moment of the night.
I think the WWE Universe may care about Kofi after that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I care about Kofi. I like Kofi. I was hoping we'd have that major moment, but I still think he's great.
this is where I think we will see the genius of WWE production. Is I have to imagine that before the match on Ion Channel on Main Event this Wednesday, there is going to be one hell of a package built up behind that hit.
And well, here's the question: is we saw Miz, possibly legitimately with a concussion. Is that match going to happen? Because that tape's tomorrow. Right?
If he is diagnosed with a concussion, I think they have to take the responsibility of saying he's not cleared to wrestle.
Yeah.
But
you can work. But you can even work that into the story and push the match a week. And
I think the match
Miz
is going to happen.
Out pissed off.
I think it's going to happen. I think Vince McMahon's going to go look at Miz off camera, in the back in the locker room, and he's going to kind of say, "You're not going to work because you have a concussion."
No. That didn't fly back in the old days.
Vince is gonna give a line like, one of those. Well, would you like me to get you some Vagisil with your yellow, with your red slip or your pink slip or whatever?
Main event on network television, or is Ion considered network?
I think that's what you're talking about. I think it's considered network television.
Network, right?
It's non-K. I think it was an old UHF channel essentially. So it's low on my dial.
It's low, but it doesn't get big ratings, but it's prime time. On a main event of a primetime network show. So that's a big thing.
Big ratings.
Yeah.
The big ratings probably came in the last segment of the night. Who was going to get the contract? Who was going to sign that contract to face CM Punk at Hell in a Cell? Vince McMahon in the ring with the reigning champ CM Punk. Mm-hmm. His voice of the voiceless Paul Heyman. And then introduced Ryback as well as John Cena. Cena took the mic and kind of made an interesting move. Mm-hmm. Kind of said, this isn't about the championship. This is about kicking CM Punk's ass, putting him in his place, and the one ass kicker there was Ryback.
Yeah, but at first Vince started talking, right? And then
CM Punk interrupted
CM Punk grabbed him, and he's like, "I'm sick of already hearing you talk,
you egomaniac."
Yeah.
And called him out and running his mouth, man. He was angry with Vince. A little laced with some truth there.
Dropping a pipe bomb.
And Ryback the whole time didn't say a word, just staring at Punk, sweating and staring. Just intense.
He probably just ate, so he was sweating.
I just had a Subway sub from Jerry.
I mean, you got to just respect the high metabolism. That is the internal temperature is so high.
I would love to see his grocery bill.
I wouldn't. That's got to be brutal.
Do you think he spends a couple grand a week on groceries? I mean, it's got to be ridiculous, right?
It's got to be making a lot of money to be spending a couple grand a week. I mean, that's some big money you're talking about.
Big money. I mean, he's got to eat as much as a family of four, I would think.
Well, he's going to be able to eat a big meal on Sunday, Hell in a Cell in 2 weeks.
Yeah. 2 weeks. Feed him more.
Feed him Punk.
He gonna get Punk now. Cause Cena just, without even it wasn't even so many words. He just said oh yeah, you got it. He didn't even it wasn't a full-on pass the torch thing. It was just yeah, you get it. I didn't even take it. I was like, did he really give Ryback the match?
Yeah.
Or was it was really worded weird.
He did. He did.
Yeah. They should have played the elbow injury up a little bit more because
no tape on the elbow for Cena this week.
No tape, but at the same time, it's he's sitting there going, well, you just go Ryback instead of I kind of would have liked to see Cena
Punk could twist it.
I would get in there and I would do it. But you know what? This guy's 100%. This guy deserves it, and I'm going to step back.
We got one more week of Raw. We got a little bit more time for some storyline development to see if there's a twist or a swerve that happens next week.
Because you're giving Punk ammunition now.
I'm anticipating Cena involved in the match somehow.
You think maybe a triple threat or a special
referee or something for this match.
Yeah.
You have to get Cena involved. You have to have Cena on the pay-per-view. You can't just sit him. So you've got to get him involved somehow.
Should we make some predictions of what's going to happen in this match?
Sure.
Do we give Marissa some time to hit the big predictions audio key?
Oh, there you go.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Josh Padgett.
What are we predicting here?
Ryback versus CM Punk, Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship.
No, it's going to be a triple threat. They're going to get Cena in the match next week, and it's going to be a triple threat match. CM Punk goes on top without Ryback getting pinned.
Yeah, I say it's going to be Ryback and Punk, but Cena as the special referee. Punk is going to go over, and Punk is going to hold the title to Royal Rumble when he faces The Rock. I truly believe they will not take that belt off him.
And I'm seeing a new sponsorship deal with Ryback from SpaceX as he takes that rocket ship, you know, shot to right into space.
I bet he doesn't even need a spacesuit. I bet Ryback doesn't need a spacesuit or a parachute, and he would be okay.
His skin is pressurized. No, but
he would hit the ground, bounce twice, get up, say "feed me more," and walk away.
I'm going to make the bold prediction that Ryback is going to walk from Hell in a Cell
as the champ
with the championship.
Wow!
I think he's going to take out CM Punk, and we're going to see the new Ryback.
Okay, then let me ask you this. If that happens, do we see a title run with Ryback, or does the belt then get pulled off with him within a month or two?
Keeps the title for a while, builds this little momentum for Ryback.
Does he go into WrestleMania as champ?
I think he may. You know what? I think he may.
Yeah.
You know, everyone thought that Daniel Bryan losing at WrestleMania in the 18 seconds was the worst thing ever.
Best thing could ever happen to him.
And I think everyone's fearful right now of the fact of what happens if Ryback wins.
I agree.
I think we may see a little trial by fire.
Yeah.
And I think Ryback may walk and see if he can handle the pressure.
Yeah, my fear isn't really if Ryback can handle it. Is it too soon to put him into that main event with Punk? If you're not going to put the belt on him, you know, is it too early?
Yeah, and I don't see that. I gotta disagree with you on that, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think.
I can't. That cannot happen.
I can't see that.
And if anyone has seen on Google pictures of The Rock currently right now.
Oh my God, he's in that bodybuilding movie.
He's in a bodybuilding movie. That man is. He would. I want to see him and Ryback in the same ring more than anyone after seeing how big Rock, because you know CM Punk, you know, he's what, 220, and right now, man, The Rock looks humongous.
Yeah, see, I want to see Punk and The Rock because I want to see that verbal war. I want to see The Rock saying,
awesome.
"You didn't deserve that main event of WrestleMania. I did. You took my spot." I want to see that. I want to see those pipe bombs on The Rock. The Punk, you know, when Cena and Rock got into it. Cena didn't push The Rock like I think CM Punk will.
He had to be baby, you know.
And that's why you got. That's the program I want to see in
unpredictable.
And Punk's a heel. So
I think that's going to be my buzzword as we leave 2012 in WWE. Mm-hmm. Unpredictable. I think we're going to see some decision making that will question. That'll make everybody question what they're seeing on WWE programming. How are these decisions being made? What direction are they going with? I'm going to stick with my prediction and go Ryback.
That's a bold statement, sir. I like it, though. I love Ryback.
I'd like to be bold.
Okay, let's go, GQ.
I'd like a little extra seasoning.
All right, thank you, guys.
Well, let's throw some quick plugs as we got the music going on. What do you got going on, Ryan Clum? Where can we find you?
You can find me next Saturday, Millennium Pro Wrestling in Simi Valley, California.
That's at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, 7 o'clock, I believe, bell time. I think we have a pre-show. Usually it starts around 6:30. So great family show if you're in Simi Valley or Southern California. Come on out.
Josh Padgett, how about you?
If anyone wants to sit next to me in Simi Valley, I'm going to be there Saturday night, too. So let's cheer these guys on.
Are you going to be cheering Ryan Morals and GQ Money?
That's right. I'm going to do it.
That's what he's going to do.
Hobo is got in store for you.
That stinking hobo.
Yeah, I'm going to be defending my MPW Maximum Championship against the hobo at said show in Simi Valley, California. Also, go ahead and check out my website, www.imsmiley.com, where you can watch the latest episode of the Styles Monroe Show, where I give WWE mid-carders and lower cards makeovers and kind of throw some suggestions out there where I think creators should go.
And I officially support GQ Money over the hobo.
Thanks.
On Saturday.
I appreciate that. Well, no I definitely support this team of AfterBuzz hosts because this has been a phenomenal week. It's interesting actually to see. We were so much more excited last week with the energy levels of watching a quality program, and we were pumped. And this week, I mean, we definitely got through a nice show, talked some nice wrestling, but didn't have the passion that we had last week. Quick, I guess we didn't do this. Overall ratings for the week. What are you giving it this week?
I'm going to give it a 60, 65.
It's a D minus, potentially failing.
Yeah, it's low for me this week. After a great show last week, I think part of it was last week was so good. This was a big letdown to me.
Josh, you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, man.
Yeah.
I don't usually give such bad ratings either, but I'm in that D- level myself.
Yeah, I don't like to give that rating at all, but I believe that they will bring it back next week. So next week, hopefully, we'll be back to a great show.
And there's the wrap. The music's ending. We can probably take it off the air from there. If you missed the show, then you wouldn't be hearing me say to go check out the YouTube archives or go on over to iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. Be a part of it all. AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
Oh, yeah.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.